I am now joined here in Westminster by Mark Steele, renowned comedian and columnist, and you've also been hitting the campaign trail for the Labour Party in the run-up to this vote. First of all, how are you feeling after this pretty catastrophic result for Labour?
I'll be really honest, not entirely happy. It's bad. I think Boris Johnson, to me, Boris Johnson, I think to many people, is someone who, if someone like that stood in an election and got 50 votes in the country, you'd think that's a bit depressing. And somehow he's Prime Minister, and he's just been horrible in a way that any previous Prime Minister wouldn't get away with, much like Trump. He's broken the rules, he lies, and if you catch him, he just says, matter. He doesn't turn up for the interviews. He's ridiculous, and yet somehow he's managed to win people to voting for him in areas where it would have been seen as almost heresy to vote anything other than Labour up until sort of 20-30 years ago. So it's a big blow to take, and there are so many people who've been so brilliantly enthusiastic about trying to campaign for a fairer society, to reduce inequality. You know, the talks about the number of food banks that have gone up over 2,000% over the last 9 years and so on. This was a big part of the campaign that would come to an end. So it is a blow, because it feels, I don't think this is the case, but it can feel as if huge numbers of people have said, we don't care about that. And this peculiar phrase, get Brexit done, which he won't even, of course, be able to do that because he's only just starting with Brexit. So anyway, I suppose that's a long way of saying this isn't the cheeriest morning.
Well, we're glad to have you with us. Anyway, we were talking in the run-up to this election, and you were telling me about the enthusiasm that you were seeing on the campaign trail for Labour, about huge numbers of activists going out campaigning. What happened to that?
I was just looking at the figures they've gone up again. The Conservatives have got enough.
Right, and if those people aren't utterly deflated, then which I don't think they will be, I think that will carry on, and that's tens of thousands of people that every night. Now, I'm unprecedented. Now, I turned up to do a sort of talk before people went out canvassing. This doesn't normally happen. This is Britain. Canvassing at elections is four tired people sullenly banging on doors and hoping no one answers. 700 people have been turning up at one point, and they're young people. And I think this is sort of a strange little anomaly, really, of the election, is that where these what are known as solid Labour areas have become Conservative, the opposite has happened. Canterbury, for example, this is an area that has never been Labour at all up until 2 years ago, and it's still Labour now. Labour have won in these areas. I think, though, the nature of the working class is different now. It's not people in metal, with big metal clunky machines. It's not people in shipyards and the pits. It's 23-year-olds working in production companies and website design companies, and they're on 0 hours contracts, and they can't even aspire to ever afford anywhere to live. And these people, this is the milieu from which these people are drawn, really, and the enthusiasm is just amazing. It's so sort of infectious, and of course, they will be gutted by this, but they are, I think, that's what can keep going, and then that needs to be able to connect with these other areas, with these sort of more traditional Labour areas. And
Mark, if I can ask you briefly where the Labour Party goes from here, because obviously Jeremy Corbyn did not score well with voters.
No.
Who do you think should take over?
Well, in a way, I don't know. I think there are really good people. People talk about Keir Starmer and stuff, and he's brilliant. But I think that if Labour gets obsessed with that, then that's going to be hopeless. It's a much bigger question. This is what's going on around the world. The same sort of areas that Trump won, the same sort of areas that have gone to the far right in East Germany, these sorts of places. That's what's happening here. Brexit's just a sort of vehicle, really, in which these ideas have been accelerated. I don't think Brexit's caused this. These are big issues here. How does Labour reconnect with these old industrial areas and so on? If it's just like, if people start squabbling, oh, well, they'll look better, or They know how to do their tie-up. I know Jeremy Corbyn wasn't a very good performer, but that wasn't the main reason.
Right. Well, we'll be picking through this for quite some time, but thank you very much indeed for being with us. Mark Steel there, comedian and Labour Party activist. Stuart, we're going to go back to you in the studio for a reminder of those results.